Yo, what up? Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Hi. Hello. What's going on? Are you ready? Back to school. Back to school. Listen, I know we started at 4:15 today, but that's because I was tired. I didn't feel like it. All right. Okay. So technically we are done the navigation without longitude for PredictionX. However, I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep going because we finished it, but there was more to it. So I'm a little bit confused, which is, normal for me. But I want to just like go through the rest of it, and great for us. The next part is math, and surely that will go well. I do have a fan on right now, and I'm wondering if you guys can hear that. Can you hear the fan? You let me know. Short stream? I don't know. We're just gonna see how far we get. It'd be cool if we could finish this today, but I don't know how in depth it's gonna go. So we're gonna find out. I fuck around and find out, I guess. I ain't got no answers for you. Do I look like somebody with answers? I am definitively not somebody with answers on this. Dumbfuck Friday this Friday is gonna be pretty funny though. I gotta say. We got Dumbfuck Friday on Friday. I'm live with Low Energy Vids on Wednesday, and it's Debate Pub on Saturday. This is a busy week. This is a busy week. You can hear it a little bit. Okay. Well, I'll turn it off for now. I don't need it on right now. I wanted to test it out. Chesh doing math that can only end in a violent explosion. That's accurate. Yes. Correct. You are correct, sir and or madam. Does the Borg have a gender identity? I feel like the Borg doesn't have a gender identity. A Krenner is gonna join us? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're gonna be playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? It's gonna be a good time. Okay. Math introduction. This is gonna be great. What's 50-50? Allegedly a partnership. Allegedly that means 100-0. The Borg has a queen. That's true. But queen is like a title. The collective as a whole does not have a gender. Okay. Alright. Well, good job, everybody. We started off on a tangent, so mark that down. Okay. Math introduction. Math is the underlying knowledge needed to make use of the angles and distances measured with other navigational instruments. Advancements in mathematics from the ancient Greeks to the modern day have shaped our understanding of both navigation and the universe as a whole. We will go into much more detail in the forthcoming PredictionX module Path to Newton, coming out later this year. That may or may not already be out. In Lost Without Longitude, we present only one example of a tool used for circulating mathematics, Galileo's compass. Click the image below to learn about this amazing instrument. Oh, wait. Description. Galileo's geometric and military compass. And military compass is a device that was, in some ways, a precursor to the slide rules used by 20th century engineers, while other individuals such as Fabrizio Mordente and Thomas Hood created similar devices called sectors. Galileo's is the best known, perhaps, because of his fame in other areas. Sectors were used by military officers and engineers for a variety of purposes to measure distance and angles to make a wide range of mathematical calculations. and even to determine how much gunpowder should be used for a cannonball of a particular size. Yeah, I feel like sailors in and around this time period are severely underestimated for just the amount of math they were doing all of the time. So much math. I don't think I could be a pirate. There's too much math involved. I'd be a terrible pirate. Related instruments is the sector and the slide rule. Alright, well, this is a Wikipedia article. Is this also a Wikipedia article? Yes, it is. Usage of the late 1500s to the late 1800s. Click the images below to see these devices in greater detail. That's okay. And we got a video! Oh, yahoo! Yahoo!
I want to just take a moment to point out this very rare instrument here, of which there are only 3 in the world, and this is one of the most complete. This A-frame instrument is known as Galileo's geometrical and military compass. So in 1597, Galileo, famous physicist and natural philosopher, we would say, he invented a new instrument for doing calculations that we would today call a sector, but he called it his geometrical and military compass. And this instrument could solve all kinds of mathematical problems.
I don't... You all know what I'm thinking. I don't have to say it.
Let's look at this instrument, because this is one that was made in Galileo's workshop, and he made more than 100 of these, apparently. So he wouldn't have made them himself, but he would have to hire craftsmen to do it. And you could get the angle that a cannon was pointed up and measure it on this scale here.
It'd be really funny to make D&D players do this. Oh, by the way, I have is it in the meme base? Yeah, here's a playable Goblin bingo card. Here you go. Enjoy playable bingo.
But that's just one of the kind of uses, because it was, I suppose you might say, in a certain sense, the equivalent of a slide rule, or nowadays, your pocket calculator. Are you going to open it up for us so we can see it's how it's used to solve problems?
This shit drives me crazy. We now have the wealth of human knowledge in our pockets, and what do? Nothing. We be stupid. We don't just look at things. I get people asking me questions like I'm fucking Google. And I'm like, just, you have a phone. You have this is the other thing that gets me about, like, oh, there's gonna be an AI and it's gonna be so much smarter than us. And I'm like, why? Because it's gonna have the wealth of human knowledge? Great, it's gonna be as smart as humans. Congratulations, we're dumb. Good shit. I need to see more sci-fi movies like that are like that actually like are a little bit more like I don't want to say accurate, but are a little bit more like less fantasy about the way humans are, and are like a little bit more in line with like we're kind of fucking ridiculous and are weirdly durable, and like humans are silly creatures that do silly things, and so I just want more sci-fi. Shut up! I want more sci-fi about that. I also want I want a sci-fi that's just like, oh, this AI is coming for us. Oh, it's so powerful. It controls all of our things, and somebody just fucking like sneezes on the keyboard and it goes on the fritz. Oh, well, yeah, WALL-E's a little bit like that. I liked WALL-E. WALL-E was fine. Have Dapper make the crew do it? Oh man, actually, to be fair, our crew might be between like Jordan and Maddie and Craig. We might be able to do that math. To be fair, we might be able to do that math. I mean, I wouldn't be helpful. I'd be delegating. But they might be able to do it. Hello, welcome.
this bow here.
Be careful.
So the way it works is to solve proportional problems. For example, if you're wanting to convert between the Venetian ducats and the Florentine lira, and you take two of the numbers, one of them you set this way by getting the numbers in question apart, and then the next one
This literally does look like it's just the tools that you get in that little case that everybody gets when they're kids. It's got like the two pointy things, it's got like the circle, it's got one pointy and a pencil for the other side, and then it's got like a triangle and a protractor. It looks like I should go pick up one of those, because I haven't had one of those in years, but it seems like that's what this is.
would be down here, and you have to open it up for the other part of it, and how much you open it is the answer to the proportion question. So you can use it for money conversion or any kind of simple proportions, but you can go to much more complicated ones.
Yeah, one of them is the compass, the other one is a protractor, one of them's triangle shaped, and one of them, and then there's one that's got the two pointy ones that are supposed to, like, you can put them on a map to measure distances and stuff like that.
And they're the simple sorts of problems that, if you're not terribly good at numbers, you probably get all bollocksed up. And with this kind of device, you can...
I'm sorry, did this old man just say you would get all bollocksed up? Is that what this old man just told me? Is that what this highly educated graduate sitting beside the other guy on the right, I know, is the former, like, head of, like, the Longitude thingy that we learned about last time. But this... Is that where we are? Did they just tell me that you're gonna get all bollocksed up? Is that... Wonderful. That makes me happy. At least I feel like we're closer to the same level. Anybody who thinks they're better than anybody else is fucking lying.
do all kinds of things, including, let's say, squares and volumes. And there are multiple scales along the side. So you can imagine that Galileo was taking students in to show them how to work it. And he had a manuscript that was a handbook, because he didn't want that to have multiple copies and have other people ripping off his invention. In fact, he had some court fights to preserve his monopoly on it.
Oh, so Galileo was a dick. Oh, okay.
It's hard to see on this
They look
example. They're
linear, are
not
they?
linear.
They're not linear. I see.
Some of the scales are, but others are geometric
I see. Yes,
and proportional in different ways.
Yes.
That's how you can extract cube roots with it and solve problems of polygons and things. So
yes.
you can even compute compound interest with this. I want you to think about, the ability to do this kind of mathematical calculation and make it easier is an important part of our steps towards having greater prediction capabilities in scientific reasoning.
Neat. All right, there's a couple more if you want the history of invention. For Galileo's compass, there's the link to that one. There is Galileo's instrument of discovery in the Smithsonian. Blah, blah, blah. There is the sector, if you're interested in that. All of these are going in the side chat. A book, an archive. What is this gonna load? I swear to God. Ooh. Fancy! Let's see. I can't read this. Somebody send this to Dapper. Maybe Dapper can read this. I can't read it, but you can have it if you want. That's a book. That was Galileo's book. And then there's an article that is broken, so we're not going to do that one. All right, we did it. We did that. Next, let's go. Galileo's compass. I feel like we just... Did we not just do this? We literally just did that. Okay, yeah, all right. Speed introduction. All right, there we go. We did it. We did it. One time I got drunk in the western desert in Egypt and my brain was a bit fuzzy. I knew if I went east I'd hit the Red Sea in 3 miles, but if I went west I was dead. I could see Polaris' butt. Ellipses. Uh-oh. Sounds like you were in trouble. Because I was drunk, I couldn't figure out if it was the northern or southern hemisphere. I was too wasted to even realize it didn't matter. Oh no. Times like these you start to wonder if your soul will outweigh a feather. I don't know about you guys, but I have my body donated to science. So, like, all my organs and shit, whenever I die, all my stuff gets, like, gutted like a fish, and, like, off it goes to do whatever it does, you know what I mean? And that's all great and all. I don't know how useful any of my bits are gonna be by the time I'm done. So, you know, it's a contest. I made it a contest. Also, I recommend, like, hey, if you're not a donor, you should be a donor. Go donate some shit to things and stuff. Donate to Tiny Science. You want to be a head and jar? That'd be kind of cool. For wee research. You guys. Alright. In order to navigate at sea, it is absolutely essential to know your speed. With no landmarks for reference, you must know how far you have gone in order to know where you are on a map. In order to know how far you've gone, you need to know how fast you've traveled and for how long. In Lost Without Longitude, we present one of the most famous examples of measuring by speed in chip log. Yeah, we know this. We know this thing about chip logs. Moving on. Chip logs were used to measure a ship's speed through water. A plate or other object tied to the end of the rope, the chip was thrown into the water and the rope spooled out as the ship moved along. After a certain amount of time, typically measured by a sand glass, which I'm assuming is this. Okay, yeah. We'll get there. The rope was hauled out of the water, and the number of knots that came out was counted. This gave the ship's speed in knots, now known as nautical miles. Chip logs were an important navigational tool in the days before reliable timekeeping. These were the best method of determining longitude. By combining the speed in knots and the amount of time the ship had sailed, the navigator could determine east-west distance with varying degrees of accuracy. Instrument, Dead Reckoning. Wikipedia. Usage date, mid-1500s to the late 1800s. Here's a big old fucking ball of twine. And we get a video. Yahoo!
The new technology at the end of the 16th century was this spool of rope. This is called a log line. The line is rolled up on a spool, and it's attached over here. You'll see the rope comes onto a triangular piece of wood that was called the log chip.
Listen, I'm out here getting a bigger brain, all right?
Or sometimes a flounder because it was shaped flat like a flounder. This was an invention of mathematicians who were trying to make navigation much more accurate. and predictable. One fellow would turn the sand glass over at the same time as another sailor would toss the log chip into the water behind the stern of the ship. And so the line would, and someone would be holding this spool.
Azaria in the chat said, I have a friend that does VFX for tutorial videos for a medical device company, and they sent him to watch a dissection a couple of years ago. Apparently the person had been on ice since 1977. That's so cool! That's so cool! That's so cool!
For a couple
Get it?
people.
Cool? Because he was on ice? Ha!
And when the sand stopped running in the glass, that fellow would yell like, Mark, stop, whatever. And so then they would reel back in the rope. And the rope was knotted at certain distances. And when they would pull in the rope, they would count the knots. And that gave the speed of your ship in knots. If anyone ever heard the expression of, instead of miles per hour, they talk about ships going so many knots? That's where it comes from. These are real knots on this log line. So this is the state-of-the-art technology for dead reckoning at around 1600.
I could download all these video files. Like, they're all downloadable. Like, I don't know if I should or could do something with that, but I'm not thinking about it right now. Maybe on a different one. Here is a chip log. There's the Wikipedia and a history of science page. Age of Exploration. And the other one doesn't work. They have a lot of broken links. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Astronomy and Angles introduction. Lost at sea in the middle of a night full of stars? Your question mark? Your best hope for finding your way is to use one of the tools explored in a section to measure your angle relative to the stars. In this section, we explore several different instruments: the astrolabe, cometarium, cross-staff, orrery, and a subgroup of instruments classified as sextants, octants, and quadrants. Click on the images below. Do I have to, or can I just hit next? We did the astrolabe. We 100% already covered the astrolabe, so I am skipping the astrolabe. The astrolabe is very, very, very cool. I definitely want to look at that and make one myself at some point, but I'm skipping it because we already talked about that. Cometariums are not navigation devices, but we present them here because of a relation to predicting the paths of objects across the sky. All of this is like just trigonometry. This is all trig. Huh? Why do they sound so superficial and barely grasp what they are referring to? What do you mean? A cometarium shows the long parabolic path that a comet takes through space. Many, including the one shown below, had keys that could be turned, moving an arm that pushed the comet along its path. The arm is sometimes geared to approximate the velocity of the comet, which is faster at its closest approach to the sun and slower at great distance. As they were expensive scientific curious, rather than useful tools, relatively few cometariums were constructed. Most working models are probably now in museums. The first cometarium was constructed in 1732 by some guy whose name I can't pronounce, of the UK. Though it was not called that at the time, he intended to model the movement of Mercury at the time. They became more common around 1758 with the return of Halley's Comet. All right, talk at me.
Edmund Halley was working closely with Isaac Newton as the Principia was being put together. And Halley saw the possibilities of using the Newtonian laws and of gravity and so on to predict the positions of comets in case
Is that like Curios, like Cheerios?
they were periodic and would come back again. Now, he was very lucky because there was only one naked eye comet at that time that had a short enough period that you could trace it coming back every 74 and a half years or something like that.
Right.
But it was just a conjecture, wasn't it, based on the
Well,
historical record?
he had the historical record, and you can't just do it by the period. You have to do it by the position where the comet comes in the sky.
Right.
So that you're sure you've got the
same
same
one.
one again.
Same, right. It actually came back in 1759.
Yes, yes.
But what's fascinating to me is, in regards to this prediction, that it didn't need to be experienced empirically before people were willing to put their money down on that it was coming back. The scientific reasoning was so strong that people believed it would come back, and they started looking for it. And instrument makers like Benjamin Martin, who made this cometarium, a model of this comet, started making and selling these before the return. So if it hadn't come back, they would be like a silly thing. Well, you know, but they said, no, we're sure it's coming back. So they had put their money where their mouth was.
But you think even without Newton, they would still have made the prediction simply on the basis of historical records of a regular return?
I think
well, they had to have the theory.
I think Newton's theory really helped, and I think Newton and Halley worked very closely on this with a lot of back and forth correspondence, and Halley did a whole lot of calculations for Newton's Principia in trying to get that labor off Newton's shoulders so Newton wouldn't quit midway and not publish it.
Yes.
Yeah, putting them on 2 times speed might be better. Let's a bit about math.
And so I think that the two work very well together, and I think the Newtonian theory really cinches it. So Harvard bought this one in 1766. With the
That's
help
a
of
little
Benjamin
better.
Franklin. Because a few years before, Harvard Hall, which held all of Harvard's scientific apparatus, both for research and teaching, and the library and student dorm rooms and everything, it burnt to the ground in a terrible fire. And so Harvard lost everything that was preserved in the building. And there's some scientific instruments, including some of the clocks behind us, survived because they were out at Professor Winthrop's house. He was doing his own astronomical observations from his roof. But everything else burnt up. So Benjamin Franklin was going over to London to go to readings of the Royal Society and to meet the proprietors of the colony of Pennsylvania, the Penn family. And so he asked Harvard if he could be of help. So I like to say he became Harvard's personal shopper, to put it in modern terms. So he got to go spend Harvard's money in London. And so one of the things he selected was the cometarium and a whole lot of other instruments that are in this room.
It's basically a pedagogical tool.
This is a
isn't it?
pedagogical tool.
Yes.
So some of the other instruments that he selected are research instruments.
Neat. All right, mechanics. So if you want to understand the mechanics about how this works a little bit better, and on Ptolemy's, I can't read this. It's a PDF. I can't get it. I can't read those words. I don't understand. I'm too stupid. Next. Cross staffs. Okay, we covered cross staffs already, so I'm skipping it. We did this one already. We're going to next. Get out of here. The orrery, sometimes referred to as a planetarium, is a model of our solar system showing the sun at the center and the Earth and other planets orbiting it. Orreries range in size from small handheld devices to table-size models over a meter wide. While not used for navigation, orreries are still an important benchmark in the history of science. They mark the widespread acceptance of the sun's presence as the center of the solar system. Many proudly display the gearwork that allows them to be cranked to a particular time, making an analogy with the idea of God as clockmaker was common at the time. Device such as the Antikythera mechanism were built to show or calculate astronomical information before 100 BCE. The first known clockwork model of the solar system was created by Giovanni Dondi in 1348. The fuck is this? Whoa! Okay, well, you know what? You can have the Wikipedia article to that one. Look at this fucking thing. That's a rock! Pre-100 BC, the ancient cycle of the Olympic Games? I do like that everything we make is just rocks and sticks at the end of the day. It's all just rocks and sticks. Thanks, Smitty. A brass orrery showing Mercury, Venus, Earth with the moon, Mars and its 2 moons, Jupiter with 2 of its 4 moons visible. Neat.
This instrument here is known as a grand orrery. If you look closely at this, what do you see? Planets. And if you look down here, what do you see through the windows, through what's called the skirt? Gears. This instrument was made by a clockmaker in Boston named Joseph Pope, and it is a mechanical model of the solar system, and it runs by gear work that's cranked. And when you crank this, the planets would revolve around the sun in their relative speeds. They will rotate on their axes, and their little moons go around each planet. So you have this big model of the solar system. And this was part of the philosophy of the 18th century, which saw that the universe was like a giant clock, and that God was a clockmaker, capital C, who wisely contrived everything to make it run smoothly. And so this instrument was designed to be a teaching tool to demonstrate the order of the heavens. This beehive dome with 12 windows represents the sphere of fixed stars, which appear to rotate all together around the Earth, because the Earth's rotating. But that's our coordinate system of the sky. Then down here you have the plane that the planets move in, which we call the ecliptic, and the sun's path through that, the zodiac. It's shown here as well with these paintings of the zodiacal constellations. So here's Sagittarius, for example. And then we have these bronze figures that were...
Sagittarius, you say. Don't make a horse dick joke. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
We know that they were cast by Paul Revere. It was like looking for other ways to earn a business. And we have 3 individuals who then repeat 4 times. So one is Isaac Newton, who's literally on a pedestal with his system of the world. Yay, Newton. And this was a demonstration of Newtonian natural philosophy. Next to Newton is a man who looks like he has a pitchfork. That's supposed to be a lightning rod, and that individual is Benjamin Franklin, who at the time was still alive, and he was America's foremost scientist. And then the third fellow, on Newton's other side, is James Bowden. Now, you've probably heard of...
Wasn't there, like, issues with Benjamin Franklin being, like, way too much of a capitalist schlub, so he was, like, kind of a problem? That's Benjamin Franklin, right? Am I remembering the wrong guy? I'm not American, so my knowledge on the drama between political people in historical United States is a little bit vague. Or limited, I guess. Small.
Newton and Franklin, well, who's James Bowden? Well, he was the governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts at this time. So you can see Pope is kind of buttering up his patrons, and so I like to think of this as the cosmic sphere sitting on the shoulders of science and the state. So while making it, though, something happened that halfway through making it, he could not predict. No one at that point could really predict it. In 1718,
he's the one who basically was banished to Europe so he wouldn't fuck up the war. Was he? Was that Benjamin Franklin? Oh, he was a slut? He was the opposite of a capitalist, so I'm thinking of somebody else. Huh. Thank God you're not American. I would have to revoke your citizenship. What? Why? What did I do? I mean, not that I'm complaining. I'm just curious. I'm thinking of Thomas Edison. Okay, all right. Yeah, you were right. I'm thinking of Thomas Edison.
When the planet Uranus was discovered. This is the first planet discovered since antiquity. So, like, if you're no one's expecting a new planet. Once you discover a new planet like Uranus, then you might think, okay, look, maybe we'll find a Neptune, a Pluto, some other stuff going around. But he was not prepared for that. There was no way to predict this as a possibility. So, if you look closely, you'll see that he leaves it out. He decides, forget that, it didn't fit anymore, whatever. So he leaves it out. So when this is done, it causes a great sensation. Everyone is coming to Pope's workshop to see it. And it's written up in the newspapers. It's a big deal.
I mean, it's a pretty cool device. It looks pretty neat. It's kind of artistic. That's cool. The Grand Orrery, if this loads. Description of the planetariums, the Wikipedia page, and a real-time orrery. If these things load. So here you go. Here's your links. You can check these things out if you are so inclined. This one's not loading, but I'm going to give you the link anyway, and maybe it will work and maybe it won't. Next! We're zooming through these. I knew it! I knew we missed stuff, because, like, look, here's the octant, the quadrant, and the sextant. Octants, quadrants, and sextants are all so closely related that we will discuss them as if they are a single instrument. We're a single instrument. There are important differences between them, but they are closely related for our purposes. We will refer to this general class of instruments as sextants. Sextants measure the angle between objects. They can be used vertically, such as to find the angle between the horizon and the sun. This is useful for determining one's latitude. They can also be used horizontally to determine the distance between, for example, two mountains on a shoreline. This is useful for determining one's distance from shore. Related instruments are the cross staff and the back staff. Quadrant's usage was in the 1460s to 1700s. The octant was 1742 to present, and the sextant is 1730 to present. That's what they look like, and aren't they neat? And off we go!
In the 18th century, around 1735, you get the invention of the octant. And this is a very early octant. It's actually divided scale with an unusual method you may have never seen called transversals. It measures to 2 minutes of arc. What it does is, by sighting through this little pinhole sight at, say, the horizon, through this half-silvered mirror, and then moving the index arm, what it does is the star, let's say, that I'm looking like the North Star, I take its reflection off this mirror down to the mirror I'm looking at through here, like this, and when I line up the horizon and the reflection of that star, I then can, off the scale here, read the angular distance. The great thing about this is, on a rocking ship, the images are very stable together because of this mirrored arrangement, unlike with the cross staff or the other instruments you're using. So this is an early octant, and immediately becomes widely used at sea. So I brought a number of navigational instruments, and I'll start with this. This is an octant. It's made about 1800, and it's made of wood and has an ivory scale here with a vernier. And my favorite part about octants of this period is they often come with this handy little pencil that sits in here, comes out. And so you make your observation, and then you say, oh, okay.
How old is that pencil? I need to know. That is more important to me than anything else so far. I want to know how old that pencil is. That the same pencil? Is that the pencil that was there the whole time? This is important. This is a very important piece of information. How old is that pencil? Can you date a pencil? Like if I whipped out one of these pencils and I was like, "Hey, I got this pencil. Can you let's pretend this pencil is 100 years old. Would you be able to tell if this pencil was 100 years old? Can you do that? Can you, like, carbon date a graphite pencil? I don't know, like, the wood is carbon, like, right? Could you? I guess. I don't know. I'm asking.
That's 23.5 degrees. And then on the back here, you have this handy little pad made of ivory where you scribble down your observation. Because on a deck,
has to be a number 2.
It's windy and wet, and you're not going to have paper lying around. It's handy. The octant only measures up to like 90 degrees. But it is an eighth, because of the mirror, you take an eighth of a circle. That's where it gets the name the octant. But you can, on that arc, you can divide it to 90 degrees. But for lunar distances, you want bigger angles, like up to 120 degrees. So they invent the sextant, which is the same thing, but better made. And this is like a sextant. This actually is a quintant. It's a fifth of a circle.
Is it better made, or is it just made so it can measure larger distance? I don't understand the word better in this context. Someone for sure has a TikTok account where all they do is date pencils.
The difference is here.
It would be too young to accurately date. How old does something have to be to accurately date it? It's can't be more than half your age. Or can't be under half your age.
You'll see, instead of wood, it's brass. It's very structurally rigid. It has a handle. It has, instead of a wooden scale or an ivory scale, it has a silvered scale. You can divide it more finely. It's inlaid on brass, have a reading microscope, so you can read it. You have a thing called a vernier, which allows you to read fractions of degrees. Instead of a pinhole sight, you have a telescopic sight, which improves what you can see. That screws in there, and you have a choice of telescopes that are in this box. And otherwise, it works the same way.
So can you just show us, like, if we pretend that over there, over David's head is a star that you're looking at, can you just sort of show us what you would be doing?
So what I would be doing is I'd move these filters out of the way if I didn't need them, and I would sight the star, and I would move the index arm until I would get a reflection of the star from this mirror onto this half-silvered horizon mirror while I was sighting the horizon. And then when I got those to line up, I would read the angle of separation here. So I could also use it in any orientation to measure the angle between anything.
Right. But usually it would be for the angle of elevation of the star off the horizon.
Well, if I wanted to find latitude,
right,
that would be how I would do it. If I'm finding, if I wanted to find longitude, I would be measuring the angular separation between a star and the moon, a lunar distance, and then using that information to calculate my longitude.
So for the lunar distance, you would have to use the sextant to get the angle to then and the distance between the star that you were using and the moon, and then you would have to pull up the almanac and flick through the almanac to find the date you were looking for, and then compare the date of where things are and where things should be, and then use that to apply it to the map to find your log. Jesus Christ! I live in the future. Thank God. Fuck me, dude.
Now, this is expensive.
I can't survive in the past. There's too much math.
Because all the differences in material and construction. So you'll find even into the 19th century, a lot of people are still using octants instead of sextants, unless you're really going on a voyage that is more critical and you can afford a sextant. If you're on a whaling ship, an octant would do to go across the world and back. If you're going coastal navigation, say shipping things from Philadelphia to Boston and back, or up to Maine, an octant is fine for finding latitude. And it's good. You could use it for a lot of longitude things. At just certain angles, you would want the sextant.
I love that you fucking not only knew Biff's last name, but were like the Back to the Future reference, top tier. Knowing Biff Tannen's last name. Goddamn. Alright. Oh, there's a PBS one. Oh, it's 404. Oh, what happened to PBS, guys? Oh no! Oh, shucks. More detailed description. Oh, also an error. Oh boy. Wikipedia pages. Smithsonian. Discontinued. Oh no. And then there's no link, so, I don't know. Timekeeping introduction. We did this one. I'm pretty sure we read timekeeping already. As the navigators knew that they could accurately measure time, that it would be significantly easier for them to find the longitude at sea. However, the technology to do so was not perfected until the 18th century. This section looks at the progression of tools used to measure time, the sandglass sundials, various pre-Harrison marine chronometers, and finally the invention that won the longitude prize, the Harrison clock. Sandglass. Now, we did this. We already read these ones, so I'm just gonna jump ahead. We're not gonna rewatch the videos. We already looked at these. Marine chronometer is pretty crazy. Look at this thing. Isn't that cracked? Get out of here. Look at this one. Whoa, marine chronometers. Look at this. That thing's crazy looking. Direction introduction. Okay, we did compasses and lodestones. We've already covered this, so we're jumping ahead. I don't know how we ended up so out of sorts. God damn. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. We did the lodestone already. We covered that. Maps introduction. It's a map, it's a map, it's a map, it's a map. Okay, so before we do maps, I'm gonna go pee. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I got an apple And some water. Okay. We are back. Boom. Let's turn this down a little bit. Yow! Okay. Did anybody get bingo yet? 3 Mile Island would never have happened in Canada because they use metric. Once a navigator figures out longitude and latitude, maps or charts, as they're called at sea, are an essential resource for them to know where they are and where they're going. There are no current maps discussed in Lost Without Longitude, but we encourage you to explore the Harvard Map Collection for a wealth of digitized maps from throughout the ages. If you're interested in improving your map reading skills, check out everything you need to know about reading a map at Camping Cooks. Okay, well, here you go. There's a link to that. More math. Yeah, I'm working on it. And here's the library's link. It's not loading for me, but maybe it'll load for you. Next, video menu. We definitively did all that. Okay, get out of here. Help, I'm lost. No, we definitely watched that. When GPS stops working, oh, we watched this. Navigation as a prediction, we've watched this. Is this just gonna go through the extra videos that calculate a lot? We watched all these. The Prime Meridian, we watched this. Man, we might actually be done now. We also need to finish watching Donald Trump and President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Mark Carney throwing shade at each other. Actually, it's mostly Trump rambling and Carney throwing shade. Shade that is too highbrow for Donald Trump to understand. They're planning to announce that they've torn up the Alaska Purchase, which was a bad deal, a very bad deal, made by the corrupt Obama administration. We watched this. We watched that. We've watched this. We've seen these. You have a set of maps in your car? That's cool. It's a good idea to keep a map in your car. Global trade, i.e. the Atlantic slave trade, had a lot to do with why this was important. Thermograph. Ah, no, we looked at the thermograph already. The thermograph is pretty cool, actually. Sunshine recorder we looked at. Yeah, we looked at all this. We just missed the map. How did we miss the bath? What is this? Oh, post course. I already did the post course. Complete the course. I'm done. I did it. So the next one is PredictionX, Jon Snow and the cholera epidemic of 1854. Look, we did it. Yay! So we just missed sextants and octants and somehow managed to miss the mathematics. But there was way less in the mathematics than I thought there was going to be. We got 3 road maps. That's pretty cool. We got our derp Paloma. Good job. High five. I hope you high-fived your screen. If you're watching on a phone, I hope you slapped your phone out of your hand by accident. Ah! There are 70,000 learners enrolled in this one. Ends September 24th, 2090. Don't email me. This one's expensive. Oh, that's all 3 of them. Alright, well, let's go. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Let's go. That. Alright. Should we keep going? How much is it gonna fuck with me? Hold on. Bonus video. Mapping the cholera outbreak. I should make this a new one. End of course survey. Where's the... Oh, 7 questions. Assessments due November 11th. Yeah, I can do that. I'll be done by then for sure. Alright, I don't want to start it right now because if I start it right this very second, it's gonna mess with, like, what we're working on, right? Because, like, then it'll be halfway through a video we're doing a different thing. Ah. I think we stop here because if I start going into this, it's gonna be confusing. I was prepared to go longer today, but I've got a busy week this week anyway. I have 2 streams tomorrow. I got Saturday. I got 2 streams on Friday. Oh wait, I only have 1 stream on Friday. You guys better show up for Dumbfuck Friday this Friday. You guys better show up for Dumbfuck Friday this Friday. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good time. That's okay. This one can just be a short one. I'm okay with that. And then tomorrow we can get into Jon Snow and the cholera outbreak of 1854. I don't know anything about the cholera outbreak of 1854. I didn't even know there was a cholera outbreak in 1854. Someone make me a sandwich. If somebody just walks through my door with a fucking sandwich right now, I'd be all over that. The secret to eliminating orcs? Make them believe you are better than they are. Make them believe that you are better than they are. It doesn't matter whether you actually are. You just make them believe it. Mind over matter. Facts. I also have a mega stream with Dapper next Wednesday. Me and Dapper are going cheese. We're going full on cheese mode. You're not ready. It's on Dapper's channel. You are not prepared for how McCheese mode this is gonna get. Don't make me do math. Don't do it. What type of cheese? Yes. All of it. Make him do it for 48 hours? Listen. Listen, alright? Cheddar, cheese, Parmesan, cheese, cheese. I'm gonna give you guys a song. Here you go. I'm gonna link it to you guys. It's all cheese. There's cheesecake. There's Parmesan cheese. There's cheddar cheese. Cheese! Blue cheese, goat cheese. cheese dip, nacho cheese, every cheese on the man. If you've never had apples and cheese, by the way, very good combination. I definitely recommend it. You're missing out. I want to try it with dried apple. Maybe you can like make apple dry out and then like turn it into like a crisp, so they're like thinly sliced crispy fruit, or dehydrated. You can use that as a cracker. Brie, mwah, so good. You can dip them. Cream cheese. Food is the best. I'll talk about food all day. Give me an excuse to talk about food. I love food. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for wasting your time with me. I hope you learned something. I'll be back tomorrow. Jam and cheddar sandwich. Sweet and tangy. Very good. 10 out of 10. Alright. I'll be back tomorrow with this next one we're working on. So if you want to learn about the cholera outbreak with me, we're doing that tomorrow. I'll also be live on Low Energy Vids for Final Fantasy VII, so if you want to see some of that nonsense and watch my brain explode and watch me get into my Rufus Shinra apologetics. And then on Friday it'll be Dumbfuck Friday, so don't miss that. And if you want to see Dapper losing his mind about politics and news around the world, that is this coming Saturday with Manya and Landon. So that'll be on Debate Pub though. It's not here, it's over there. So you gotta go sub over there. I'm leaving. Bye.